Ladies and gentlemen, to the best of my abilities, I have tried my best to keep the black community's eyes on the prize, eyes on the ball, not to be distracted by what a lot of these entities truly want and their real hidden agendas. Understand, a lot of people grifted in front of your face, danced in front of your face, like Applebee's thinking she was Selma Hayek and From Dusk Till Dawn in front of Cameron's face. A lot of these people did a lot of dancing in front of you to essentially disarm a lot of us into believing they were allies. All along, they've been rooting against Izzy this season because she was an actual ally. They've been rooting for the players who've been anti-black because they weren't allies. And for the last 2 years, they've been telling black women they don't need black men support. They don't need black men as long as they have their trusted old non-black allies. Only for those same non-black allies to show themselves to be imposters, turn their back on the entire black community, and now they're pushing a completely new narrative in year 3. Funny how as soon as the three-peat's possible, all of a sudden you see people's true colors. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, in this 28th rant of the season, I'm so excited to deliver it, I forgot to change the thumbnail on the on the interface. Understand here, Coach, we got to break down it all here because this double eviction episode was a complete flop. I don't care what anyone says, it was garbage. That's why this rant entitled Sanctioned by the Stone Age, we got to break down why production. Hey, let's just keep it real in these streets. You have no one to blame but yourself if this season does not get back on the rails from this point further. We're halfway throughout this season, and black fans are running out of motivation to keep watching it. Now you have the show only having 2 episodes, coming off of a week where feeds were the most boring that they've ever been, and you expect to keep viewer retention high, and on top of that, you expect people to care about feeds. The only 2 players on this cast that are underdogs just got evicted. One's white, one's black. Both were treated like they were black, and that's why I've always had Cameron's back. Understand here, ladies and gentlemen, we got to break down this and more exclusively on Recency Bias Radio, your #1 source for everything rants concerning all of reality TV. The unfiltered perspective, the pro-black perspective, the righteous perspective. Let's get into it, because this is where no one is safe from criticism. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. I'm, of course, your humble host, Dave Smith. I'm here to not only recap tonight's double eviction episode, but to give you all a black BB history lesson, because what a lot of people are doing, and what they have been doing since the beginning of this season, to be quite fair, is they've been projecting all of their prejudice upon black fans. They've been trying to gaslight us into not wanting to trust our eyes, when the truth is we have sat through 20 years of a lot of the same things we're seeing right now. And because we sat through 20 years of it, and because they've only sat through 2 years of it, they can't get us to believe we don't see what we see. See, understand here, Coach, for me to watch tonight's double eviction episode, for me to see all of these cowards gang up on Cerie Fields like they did, we're talking about a lady who has a reputation from Survivor, from the Traitors, the whole 9, of being terrible at comps. You mean to tell me it's bad enough production created a knockout comp, real redundant, real repetitive production, because we just had that comp. Isn't that the comp Jared won over Izzy when she got the answer wrong? You know, the same comp he knocked out Cameron, but they didn't give him credit for it. They said it was handed to Jared. Yeah, that same comp. All of a sudden, y'all want to bring it back the minute Cerie and Jared are on the bottom. I've never seen y'all bring the same exact comp back and just be like, well, this time it's Scaryverse based, yo. Still the same comp. And because you all knew that Cerie was on the bottom, you should have given her a fair shot at winning this legitimately. And see, a lot of blame got to go across the board because I am losing interest in a lot of the cast, right? In terms of rooting for them. You know, I mean, I used to like Matt. What Matt did tonight, I mean, that was very unbecoming. You claim to be this ally to Cerie, but you picked her for the knockout. You're a double agent. You're full of crap. You're just like all these other grifter shapeshifters. You chose the anti-black side tonight, Matt, and you got to stay over there. That's why I'm hoping Jared comes back as a zombie and he negans you goof ass. And I hope he grabs what's the baseball bat called? I hope he grabs the baseball bat with spikes on it. And I hope you're one of the first to get smacked, because I'm gonna keep it real in these streets, Matt. You are a grifter too. Huh? Oh my God, he used my situation against me. All of y'all use the fact that he's a black man against him. You know, I've seen Matt. Let's really get down to the crux of this, Matt. The only reason why Jared found out about the blind side ahead of time is because you don't even trust your own final two with Jag. Why don't you trust your final two with Jag, Matt? Because Jag has been doing the things y'all claim when Jared does it, it's unforgivable. But somehow when Jag does it, he's redeemable. Now, y'all are claiming his blackness plays no role, has no impact in how Jared is being viewed within the house or outside of it. And yet, even Cory is becoming arrogant on feeds. Even Cory said he would threaten Blue Kim if she won HOH tonight during the double. And he still strong-armed her after he won HOH during the double. But have we yet to see Cory strong-arm a grown man? No. And this is the problem. We have a community full of hypocrites who, when someone black does something, they're ready to pile on. They're right by their phone, ready to click send. When someone white does the same exact thing, they pick and choose their battles wisely in that situation. And this is why I try my best to convince sisters, don't fall for the okie doke about how, oh, black women, you don't need black men. Understand, they were trying to set y'all up for your own demise. The whole Taylor Hill narrative was to set y'all up for your own demise. Understand that. How come none of these white media platforms that constantly tell black women they don't need black men, how come they never tell white women they don't need white men? How come these are the same platforms that can always find a white showmance to root for, but every time a black man is in a showmance, they always are against it? But these were the same people that promoted Jailer, even though that was clearly Disney+. It's all about controlling the black woman, because in their minds, controlling y'all controls us. So what happens when black women wake up from that and they're no longer uncontrollable? Then the black community takes back their own control. When the black community takes back their own control, the black community has power again to be able to force the golden age to return. But as long as we're infighting with each other, we're doing the work we're doing their dirty work. Just like Matt and Jag the past week or so did Apple Cory's dirty work. So understand here. A lot of people got played over the last 2 years. A lot of people fell for an okey-doke narrative. The same okey-doke narrative that is mainly responsible for why we went from having 2 straight black men, 2 straight seasons, to now just having 1. And the same people that went out of their way to say, you know what, my problem with Jared has nothing to do with him being black. If he was more humble, microaggressions, dog whistling. If he was more low-key, less loud, microaggressions, dog whistling. Let's keep it real here. These same people loved Hisam being loud. All of a sudden, you don't like the black man being loud. Be consistent here, because we're pinpointing the fact that you're full of crap. All right? These will be the same people telling you if Jared would have just been this specific type of black guy, they would have liked him. But these are the same fans that didn't like David Alexander when he wouldn't harm a fly. David Alexander was one of the nicest black men in existence. During 21, he experienced overt prejudice. What did these people do? They bashed him throughout all of that. When he played BB25 right after, what was the main thing they said? He doesn't deserve to be an all-star. Let's forget about the fact that his one and only chance of playing this game was completely derailed by racism. Let's not talk about that, because we actually supported that. I'm talking about the anti-black fans. That's how they view this, because instead of them saying, you know what, good for him, he deserves a second chance because his first chance, he didn't have a real chance, they decided to fixate more on the fact that he didn't have the credentials to be an all-star. Well, here's the thing. How many straight black men have the credentials to be an all-star when y'all never give them any credit for the game they do play? Oh, see, we're getting somewhere, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, see, I'm here to tell the truth tonight.
Folks,
I'm here to tell the things
lie?
A lot of people online are scared to tell you. So, David Alexander wasn't good enough, even though he was the nicest guy in the world. They still figured out a way to bash him. Xavier Prather, a man who played the game for his nephew after his brother passed away and was just trying to help his nephew have a good life. They still found a way to hate on him. Huh? Monty and Terrence, okay, they claim they had reasoning for hating them, but why did you hate Xavier and David so much if all you care about is a black man being respectful? See, the truth is, it doesn't matter if the black man is respectful. It doesn't matter if he's arrogant. It doesn't matter if he's confident. It doesn't matter. He can have a mouthpiece. He can have a showmance. He can have no showmance. People are predisposed to not want to give the brother any credit. So understand, this Jared thing is very similar because I've done the data. I've done the research. Did y'all know in 25 seasons of Big Brother US, straight black men have only appeared on 12 of them? We appear on less than 50% of these shows. Less than 50%. But we got people who are always so hard on us whenever we play, when we rarely get representation 100% of the time. Meanwhile, straight white men always get representation every season. In fact, they get multiple archetypes. That way they can diversify their portfolio. But when it comes to the straight black man, we don't get no diversity. We don't even get a super fan every season anymore. Now it's like, let's look for a recruit. That way we can make him look dumb in the edit. That seems to be the new scheme that production is working on. Because you have to ask yourself this question, right? If this season was truly rigged for Cirie Fields, which I don't believe it ever was, and I've always been the one telling y'all that from the pulpit because I've known the truth. This has been rigged for Applebee's and Cory. All you got to do is follow the edit from day one and you'll see Applebee's and Cory have had a visibility spike every week. Well, maybe not Applebee's all the way, but definitely Cory has had a visibility spike virtually every week, even when he was Wayfair Furniture. That shows a clear bias. That shows a clear need for production to keep him visible. That way the fans keep his name on their minds. If they do that, it puts Cory in a perfect position to compete for a twist. If they do that, it puts all those other players in perfect position. And did you notice how all the people who competed for that twist were all non-black besides Cirie? So Taylor, let me ask you this question. You claimed your win was supposed to help the black women that follow behind you, but how much did you really help black women if now they don't even win America votes anymore after your win? Oops. Literally, Cirie only won it because she's from Survivor and Traitors. She had a built-in fan base. Felicia took out Hisam. She couldn't crack top 4. Mimi can't crack top 4. Jared can't crack top 4. That's on you, Taylor. Because instead of allowing the black man to have some type of shine and recognition for your success, you made it all about your own. Similar to how Tiffany made it all about her own. She allowed people to bash Xavier, which ruined the reputation of the cookout at large. Hence why Tiffany said, I need to start this channel with Big D and Hannah because I got to help Big D's reputation get back up after I helped stump him out at first. All of it's connected. So understand. The straight black man has only appeared on 12 seasons out of 25. Did you know that out of those 12 seasons, only 2 of those seasons, the straight black man was not hated from start to finish? So 86% of the time, we are always the scapegoat and the whipping boy for something else. And this is whether we are in the Stone Age or not in the Stone Age, showcasing that there is a dependent variable here, and it's called anti-blackness. Once again, I must ask,
Folks, where's the lie?
now, if you want to know who are the 2 black men that weren't hated from start to finish, it's quite obvious. Marvin Lattimore, BB5, and Howard from BB15. But even Howard, they said on TMZ, he didn't do enough. He should have fought back. Just like how they said when Luke said the N-word, Jared should have fought back. Interesting how all these people who have never lived a single day of their life as a black person, they believe they can dictate how a black person reacts to a white person being problematic. And yet, after that moment, they still decided to root for no black people. But once again, Jared being black has no impact on them not liking him. Even though week 1, before Jared had any comment for them to dislike him for, they still found a way to nitpick him when he was the victim of Luke's comments. So understand this, ladies and gentlemen. When we watched this double eviction tonight, everything that I saw tonight was predictably boring to match the predictably boring feeds we have been exposed to. You got Jag, this anti-black chicken. Your nickname is ABC. You feel a dick me, coach. Because right now you're lost like Jack and Kate. Understand that, coach. You look goofy as hell. I hope you get deep fried. You look stupid. Huh? Sari and Izzy are bullies. They're bullies because they tell lies in a game where people tell lies. Even though I'm Jag, the guy who told the most lies, which got me put on the block multiple times before jury. So let me get this straight, Jag. Only you get to lie? Let me get this straight, Jag. When black people lie to you, you take it to more an offense than if someone else does. So let me get this straight, Jag. You were the same guy earlier in the season when Reilly was still around. You and Blue, when y'all were trying to get Hisam to trust you, I remember all of this. Remember, it was Blue and Jag who said, let's go up to Hisam and let's pitch to him a final three built around the idea that we don't want anyone white to win this game. Jag, let me ask you a question for a second, because you know you done messed up, right? How'd you go from pitching a final three based around no one white can win to basically being part of a final five with nothing but white people, and the entire alliance mantra is nobody black can win? Can someone explain that to me, ladies and gentlemen? Because I bet you can, and trust me, we want the smoke.
Want the smoke!
All that yo-yo baby yo stuff. You think you Scott Hall or something, bruh. Trust me when I say you're not Razor Ramon. You're not, coach. And if you're not careful, you're gonna get cut really soon. Cause with no Jared in that house, you're now the biggest target in the room. You look dumb as you look dumb as a box of rocks. I really think you look dumb as a box of rocks. I think Matt looks dumb as a box of rocks. I think Blue, her throwing Jared under the bus Wednesday night. Now tonight, you know what? Kitty, kitty, purr. Kitty, kitty, purr. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, I don't want to take out my man. What? Blue, so why bash him? It makes no sense whatsoever. Just bad gameplay across the board. But once again, even Blue realized, oh, all I got to do is bash somebody black and all of a sudden my game improves? That in itself exposes how easy it is to bash somebody black, because this entire game, it has a systemic, toxic environment it is built from. Let's not forget, BB1 was a game in which the public got to vote who went out. And guess who they voted out first? A black man. This show started off anti-black. So for me to hear fans that claim to be super fan stans try to create the argument that I'm reaching for pointing out the obvious, it's once again a proof of they're okay with black fans being subjected to black trauma and uncomfortable. But if we speak on our black trauma and why it makes us uncomfortable, now all of a sudden they want to draw the line because they're uncomfortable. Well, isn't that a very privileged life to live? To be able to flip a switch on and off when you want to deal with stuff. We don't have that luxury, and the players in that house don't have that luxury. Understand, Felicia got all these issues with Sari. Felicia, you look crazy as cat in these streets. Let's keep it real, Felicia. You were the first one who ran to Jared and told him you didn't trust Sari. You were the first one that showcased some level of uncertainty. You were the first one to showcase a level of deceit towards her, so Sari moved accordingly. But see, Felicia acts like this is just her world. She acts as if she didn't do Sari dirty first. She acts as if Sari owes her something. And listen, I don't even blame Felicia and Mimi that much for voting Jared out. You got to go with the house. I'm not blaming y'all for that part. But the double eviction HOH tonight was absolutely disgusting production. It was disgusting. It's bad enough in this edit. You have done everything you could to hide the lowlights. You don't even show the booger-eating bandit himself. This guy, Cory, this guy jumps on feeds, and he's such a whiner. Understand, he was so butthurt that Jared chatted up and won that HOH wall comp after Cory called him out. Cory was the coward who refused to say to Jared's face, I'm after you, because Cory knows if Jared knows that, he's toast, right? Cory's one of these players. Oh, he wants to, let me play behind this bulletproof glass, but I want to be able to shoot you through it, but you can't shoot me through it, and that makes me good at the game. That's how Cory plays, right? It's not, he has to play with an invulnerability glitch, right? Cory's basically that kid who plays GTA and they can't play unless they have infinite ammo, right? And then you got certain people who just love GTA so much that they'll beat the game with no cheat codes. Cory's the guy, he can't even play without cheat codes. That's who Cory is in his true core. Even tonight, you only won HOH because of cheat codes. You needed production to create a comp so y'all could jump on a 50-year-old plus woman that isn't even known for winning comps just so you could win the comp. And even then, it took mistakes. Why did Blue Kim choose to face off against Felicia? That was one of the dumbest moves I've ever seen, Blue Kim. Y'all should have been putting Cory through the ringer over and over if they gonna put Cirie through the ringer over and over. That's common sense. Not only that, why didn't Blue, Felicia, Mimi, and Cirie just vote out Applebee's? That's how I know this season's rigged. Because nobody is even allowed to play smart if it's towards that side. But everyone on this side can be as anti-black and be labeled smart for playing as prejudiced as they want. All you got to do is look at, the proof is in the pudding, ladies and gentlemen. The proof is completely in the pudding, right? And see, what people want is for us to completely forget about the black BB history suggesting how much black men have been mistreated for 25 years. They want us to forget how even when black men have been respectful and respectable, they still didn't like them and still bashed them. And they also want us to look at Cirie Fields getting stumped out by a bunch of clowns tonight, and they want us to believe this show can get better. Are you kidding me, Coach? I'm going to keep it real in these streets. For Matt, for Jag, for none of them to see Cory as the one that needs to go during this double and think Jarrett needs to go, that's rooted in anti-blackness because they know Jarrett ain't got no control. So how is Jarrett such a threat all of a sudden? Jarrett's not even after you, Matt. Why do you want him gone? Because he's after Jag, the guy you didn't trust? That's why you gave him up to Jarrett? Doesn't make sense. And then for Matt to say in his DR when he voted Jarrett out, I'm voting my boy out. He ain't your boy. And the black community don't rock with you either, bro. You are a grifter, my guy. You're a straight up grifter. I've seen enough, dog. I've seen enough. You didn't need to win that veto. You didn't need to pick Cirie to face off in that knockout comp. You didn't need to do none of that stuff. That was all goof troop stuff. And what are you really doing it for? So you can follow Applebee's and Cory to the end of the world? Two people who are closer to Jag than they are to you, closer to Bowie Jane than they are to you? Matt, you're playing stupid. And you just won another comp now. So now that Jarrett's gone, you also have your threat profile raised. Just stupid gameplay. Jag's winning vetoes he don't need to win for that anti-black side. Matt's winning vetoes he don't need to win for that anti-black side. Just to get out Jarrett, the guy y'all all claim is bad at the game? Listen, this has to be the greatest bad player at the game I've ever seen. Because if he's so bad, I was taught you keep bad players around, right? He clearly ain't bad at the game because all of y'all scared of him. All of y'all scared of that man. Y'all scared of the Black Mamba. Because y'all know when he is motivated, can't none of y'all beat him in a comp. None of y'all can. And at the end of the day, Jarrett has a hidden reservoir that he can run to because his mama is also in harm's way. And this allows Jarrett to perform as well as he did. But for me to see Cory, the guy claiming, oh, it was rigged for Jarrett. The wall comp was rigged for Jarrett. They don't show that in the edit. They don't show Cory saying, Jarrett's gonna punch me. They don't show that in the edit. But then Cory thinks it's cool to threaten a woman in Blue Kim. So let me get this straight, Cory. When it comes to the black man, you use microaggressions to create the argument you're threatened by him physically. Then when it comes to any other woman in the house, then you physically try to threaten them. Do you see the hypocrisy? So let me ask y'all this question one more time. What makes Cory so likable and what makes Jarrett so unlikable? If you ask me, there's nothing that really separates them. The only difference is Jarrett actually moves like a real man out here and doesn't pick his own boogers and eats them. Jarrett doesn't just simp for a girl that's going to throw him away like a used tampon once the season's over. Jarrett is a player who actually plays for his own win conditions. You know what I'm saying? Cory, on the other hand, has played for Applebee's win conditions. All he cares about is a 2 for 20 with a brownie and to be topped off with some ice cream. That's all he cares about, Coach. You feel it, dig me? This man won an HOH tonight that he shouldn't have won if players would have played to win. Period, end of discussion. And at the end of the day, since the entire world wants to take away every time Jarrett wins a comp, we're going to repay that favor. Because the whole world knows Cory only won tonight because the comp was rigged against Cirie. Okay? So all the people that want to say stuff is rigged against this, rigged against that, nah. Mirror force trap card, Coach. It's completely rigged for your faves. And this will be the reason why people lose interest for the next 50 days. So, hey, I hope y'all enjoy those little echo chambers, those little cubby holes, those little witch covens, those little rat burrows, those little Peter Pettigrew sections that y'all like to click in. But at the end of the day, this season, this show is currently on its last legs, and it's because y'all wanted Izzy gone so bad. I didn't realize how much Izzy was carrying feeds on her back until she was evicted, y'all. This past week, y'all, oh man, dog, feeds were so bad When I had trouble going to sleep, I put on Pluto TV. You fella dig me, go. You fella dig me. I mean, I'm just telling y'all the truth right now. That's how bad feeds were this past week. And y'all really think feeds gonna get better with no Cameron or Jarrett? No real masculinity in the house? Come on, coach. Come on, coach. Let's keep it real. Whoever comes back between Cameron and Jarrett, both of them, one of them deserves to win this game at this point. One of them deserves to win. Hey, listen, if Cameron takes out Jarrett, hey, man, I ain't gonna have no problem with you. Mano y mano, you won. Hey, man, I can hold that, right? If Jarrett takes out Cameron, cool. Either way, it's rigged against black folks, though. I'm not no fool. But with that said, though, I do kind of feel like we are in a very lethargic part of this season, right? Where I don't really see a path for this game to flip back and forth. Because I think when you take out the soldier in Jarrett, the glue and the soldier, you know, Izzy was the glue, but once you take out Izzy, now Jarrett is the glue and the soldier. Once you take that out, and understand, a lot of these people in white media specifically that wanted to manipulate black women to turn on black men, they did it because they didn't want to see black women ever win again either. See, if black women never make the end without the black man's help, and if they're convincing black women to bash the black man who is essentially the vehicle which makes black women rich, then they were essentially setting black women up to bash their own meal ticket. When you start bashing your own meal ticket, what do you expect to happen, right? Like, let's just be honest in these streets. You know, what did Cameron once say about Jay-Z? Every time I diss that label, I get fined 100,000. Just for saying this, I get fined 100,000. Man, these cats are ill. 5 times a half a meal. Let's keep it real in these streets. That's exactly what's going on. It's only right I use a Cameron bar because Cameron got evicted tonight, man. But, yeah. I would have loved for Jarrett to be able to work with Cameron this week. I would have loved for that to be possible. But you have to understand, Jarrett doesn't have the information we have. Also, if you know Cory is a booger-eating buffoon, if you know Cory is the booger-eating bandit, if you know this guy wears SpongeBob underpants, would you really be more threatened of him than Cameron? If you know Cameron has, through his own mouth, said he's after your mom, how could you move forward making a deal with him without a guilty conscience? I don't really blame Jarrett, honestly. I really don't. Especially considering the factor that he was the only black man on this cast, and by him being the only straight black man specifically on this cast, Jarrett had nobody he could trust from day one that he knew wouldn't sell him out. Understand, when this production team picks 5 white men and only 1 black man, it is them essentially saying 1 black man can cancel out 5 white men. How did we get here if black men don't ever get any credit, though? Think about that, ladies and gentlemen, and you'll see this was always rigged by casting. Because if black men never get credit by any of the exit interviewers, by any of production, by anyone inside on CBS, if black men never get any credit, then how come black men lose representation? That doesn't make sense. If we're not that good like y'all claim we aren't, how do we get less people representing us? If we're not that good, we should get more people. And if white men are the most successful archetype in the history of BBUS, how do they have 5 representatives this season? Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Also think about how the same people who wanted Reilly out claiming she was Mecole, they love Applebee's for literally being Mecole. Couple guys, couple tries, right? Exposed. Expecto Patronum exposed. So understand that, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, we are currently watching a show, if I'm being honest, it's slowly being sent to the Shadow Realm. The players on it just aren't entertaining. This is what happens when you allow people that aren't charismatic to run the show. And at the end of the day, because everything is rooted in masked anti-blackness, codified anti-blackness, it makes it even worse. It makes it an even harder watch. But this is also why, if you look online, the majority of fans who claim this season's better than 24 and 23 aren't black fans. So understand that. The same people who have never given straight black men any credit, the same people who have never rooted for a straight black man in 25 years, they're the same ones trying to tell y'all if Jarrett would have came correct, they would have liked him. Come on now. These people think we was born yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. We're not falling for the games. We're not falling for them. We're not.
You can't make this shit up.
Production wanted Cory so bad to win a comp. They knew Cory in comps was looking like this the past few episodes. Like, what is Blood doing? You feeling dig me? Do you even go here, bro? You feeling dig me, coach? They knew he looked completely crazy the last few weeks. You can't push some guy as the chosen one or the face of your show if he can't win a damn comp. That's why during the double tonight, they created a comp that was Cory's wheelhouse. Come on, man. A comp that is mainly mental, right? A comp where if you're part of the majority alliance, you can just jump people over and over until you get your way. A comp that essentially keeps the flip from happening. A comp that pretty much guarantees Jarrett is sent there with Cameron. And everyone knows Cameron's a fantastic competition player. So in my opinion, they're going to also rig the battle back against Jarrett too, if it is one. The only way Jarrett comes back, in my opinion, is if it's something that is completely fair down the middle. And even then, ladies and gentlemen, if Jarrett comes back, they're just going to caser him because they're so anti-black. You think they're going to allow him to stay for more than 7 days after he comes right back? I think if Cameron were to come back, they'd come up with an excuse for why Cameron can stay for at least 14 more days. But if Jarrett comes back, they're going to see those 3 black women over there and go, nah, Jarrett, you got to go. You got to go, And we don't know how this twist is going to play out. Like, for all we know, a black woman could be taken out by the time Jarrett comes back, right? It could be like that. Or they could just walk right in tonight on feeds as zombies. Either way, though, it truly showcases how desperate production is to keep Jarrett and Cameron around, because even they know without them, feeds will be completely dead. They don't want to let them go. And honestly, I don't blame them. Cameron and Jarrett have carried this show since Izzy left. And even then, carrying it doesn't make feeds any more interesting because Jarrett was the HOH everyone was lying to. Cameron was on the block that everyone preferred going home. So neither one of them was given any real information the last 7 days, even though they were the only ones delivering from a feeds perspective. Well, besides Mimi, and I'll give you some credit, Mimi, you fought valiantly here tonight, right? I mean, she was able to get the first question right, and she picked Bowie Jane. She was on code there. Mimi also picked Cory over Blue. I was really rooting for Mimi to get out Cory there because I knew if Mimi pulled that off, the Stone Age. We kept the Stone Age off. To be honest, Mimi, you're one of the only players who is coming out of this double eviction episode. I can't criticize you anymore. I can't come up with any reason to be mad at you the rest of this season. You showed me under pressure when the rubber meets the road, you're not a coward. So I ain't got no problem with you. Matter of fact, I'll rock with you the long way now. Shout outs to your husband, coach. You got a good one, bro. You got a good one. But with that said, Mimi was the only one that was really down to protect Sari and Jarrett tonight. Felicia, not at all. Felicia too busy holding on to that hurt. And at the end of the day, Felicia, you're the one that's really going to get hurt because Jarrett's gone. You're the one that's going to start to get hurt once Sari's gone. And you're the one that's not going to be allowed to scratch the end, believing that you can trust in these people who, let's be honest here, Jarrett didn't even vote you out. You're still holding a grudge with him over the idea that he contemplated voting you out. But then all these other people who are non-black, they can change their mind and vote to keep you, and all of a sudden they're your savior complex? Stop the nonsense, Felicia. The game is the game. He didn't vote you out. Get over yourself. And to be honest with you, black fans need you to get over yourself. Because if we're not united, just like I opened up this rant with, it just allows all of the culture vultures to step in and divide and conquer more. And that's really the saddest part about this double eviction, ladies and gentlemen. Everything was so predictable that there's not much strategy to break down because we didn't get an HOH. We all can go, yeah, that was interesting. We literally got Cory, the guy with the Napoleon complex, who probably grew up with tons of money. He comes off like one of these wealthy, preppy kids. That's how he comes off to me, personally. When he said he was quarterback in high school, I'm like, quarterback of what? Bro, you're like 5'5". Who are you throwing the ball behind? Your O-line had to be 5 JCs lining up. Hut, hike. Yatus. Huh? But with that said, coach, I don't believe it for a second this guy was a quarterback like that. But if he was a quarterback, it showcases he didn't go to no school with no real black people. And that explains a lot to me, his entire attitude and his entitled perspective towards Jared. This is a guy who has empowered Cory from the get-go, and Cory has been ungrateful about it from day one. Cory bashes his own girl to Jared, and he holds a grudge with Jared for remembering the things Cory said about her. It's like, wait, what? Why tell me these things then? You know, the same logic behind that being stupid is the logic behind Blue bashing Jared being stupid. You know, I just think it's just dumb. You shouldn't bash your showmans to anyone, especially if you know your showmans is a target before you are. It just doesn't make sense, you know? But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we are currently in the season. Now I would like to answer your questions. Now I would like to know what the fans believe, because if there's one thing about the RBR community, we are unfiltered, we are honest, and we know what's up. Right? And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, the season started off really good. We got week to week, flip, no flip, flip, no flip. We had high octane gameplay, high frequency gameplay. But as every week going by, we kept losing more big personalities, more players I would have loved to be part of this jury. And now with this cast only being 7 players in the jury, this cast is in huge danger, in my opinion, of having a cast full of people nobody likes. Like, sure, the anti-black crowd will like them, but here's the thing, though. The minute black people no longer rock with what you're pushing, you're going to find out very quickly how quickly your show becomes irrelevant. Black Twitter, we keep a lot of these shows relevant. The minute we no longer care, you're going to see how fast no one cares. And right now, Trader US Season 2 is currently more viral, more trendy than Big Brother. Big Brother's only lit right now because we just came out of a Double Eviction episode. But up until this Double Eviction episode, listen, the hashtag, it was on life support. It was on life support. To the point where booger eating became the topic of discussion for an entire day. That's how bad things have gotten, y'all. But I must ask production this question. Were y'all this desperate to bring back the Stone Age that y'all would rally behind a booger eater to bring it back? I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I think y'all made a huge mistake. But it remains to be seen. I think Jared could come back. I think he could beat Cameron and come back, and he could save this season. But to be fair, I've always thought Jared was the one holding up the season, so that's no surprise to me. But the funniest part about it is Jared's biggest haters. You know, I've always said this, and I'm going to stand by this. At the end of the day, I don't even know how these people are going to have a personality online without Jared to bash. Right? Because if he currently isn't a player that's actually playing within the actual game being played for the next week of feeds, then at the end of the day, these people ain't going to have much to discuss. Because even the haters are going to be bored. And see, that's what I'm trying to get people to understand. Once Jared's gone, even the people that don't like him, they're going to be bored. They're going to have less interest. They're going to have less impressions. They're going to have less people commenting on their tweets that are clearly them baiting people to bash a black man with. When all of these things start to disappear, when the drought kicks in, you're going to see all these people start to admit, yeah, you know what? Maybe just maybe Izzy shouldn't have left when she did. But until that time comes, I'm going to be sipping my water, and I'm going to be kicking it in the cut, because I know for a fact by the time this season's over, a lot of people are going to go, ooh, what an undeserving winner. Ooh, what a horrible late game. Ooh, what an ugly jury. And when I say ugly, I don't mean aesthetically. I mean personality-wise. A lot of these players exposed themselves tonight. 100%. Even Matt exposed himself to Sari tonight. When he didn't even have to choose her. He didn't have to do that. You know? But all right, I'm on my way to the Bat Cave, ladies and gentlemen. Please get your questions ready. I want to bounce ideas off of y'all. At the end of the day, the black community, let's be real here. The glass is half full because Jared isn't fully gone. But I've seen Jed battle against Tara and BB Cam 9, and I've seen it get rigged for Tara. I've seen her have magnets in her balls while Jed's stuff kept flying off the platform. I saw it all the time. Jed was a comp beast throughout that entire season. All of a sudden, he loses to Tara head-to-head. Come on, man. That's Disney+. Plus. I already knew what it was, and I expect more of the same here. But if production is smart, they guarantee Jared comes back, because if Jared comes back, he will apply the pressure on Cory that will create the lemon booty. And that's what we need. We need somebody that will come in, just like everyone loved Cameron breaking up the power structure running the game. We need someone willing to break up the power structure running the game. And currently, the only one who can break up the power structure running the game and gather the troops to sustain that is Jared. Cameron cannot break up the power structure and rally Mimi, Felicia, and Cirie behind him. Jared can break up the power structure and rally those three sisters behind him. And that's why people don't want Jared back. Understand that, ladies and gentlemen. We got fans who didn't even root for Felicia or Mimi all season until they started bashing black people. Now all of a sudden they love them. Now all of a sudden, you know what? I see potential in them. I see it. I see the vision. But then when you say you're anti-black to them, they go, oh, no, how could you say that? Don't bring race into this. I'm not the one doing it. Yo goof ass did it to yourself, coach. It's not my fault y'all make this easy for me. Let's just keep it real in these streets. Huh? Come on, man. We talking about people who will never show up to a protest when somebody black is slain in the street, but they the ones that want to tell black people how to act when they witness a certain level of bigotry in the house. It's hilarious to me. A lot of y'all would stand still and allow someone black to be mistreated in real life. Y'all wouldn't risk your life for nobody black. Now all of a sudden y'all got all the suggestions in the world behind your keyboard full of Cheeto dust. Stop the nonsense, coach. Stop the nonsense. A lot of y'all are social justice warriors that don't have Valyrian steel. You feel a dig me, coach? Y'all have no muscle definition. Y'all ain't in the gym. Y'all ain't pumping the iron. You feel a dig me? A lot of y'all are built like Cory, so I understand why you're living vicariously through his cringy showmance. But now's the time to face reality with the reality stone. This showmance has made this game boring, and they do not have the entertainment factor to be able to carry this show another 50 days. This show is going to be one of those seasons where people are going to go, damn, it's going to be like Marvel's What Ifs. You feel it, dig me, coach? What if BB25 didn't become the Stone Age? What if it wasn't sanctioned by the Stone Age? We could have had something there. And that's what the majority of fans are going to look back at this season with. Because even the fans who believe this show is good because their faves are currently running it, the minute their faves get targeted and take it out, then they're going to admit the show is trash too. And that's what I know about stans, right? They're selective, and at the end of the day, they're very biased. So it is what it is, but I think a lot of this stuff is hilarious, bro. I think it's hilarious. I think it's funny how production chose the side of a whole bunch of people who aren't entertaining, when normally TV executives, they always choose the entertainment factor over anything else, right? Normally that's what they go for. But then when it comes to black people being entertaining, all of a sudden entertainment can take the back seat. Now all of a sudden it's all about strategy. But when black people were on code and they had the most successful alliance ever, y'all said that was boring. But here's the funniest part, right? When it came to Xavier's game, they claimed he was a boring winner. Jared has given us feeds that are high octane, roller coaster. For better or worse, he may be polarizing, but he is entertaining. You can't say he's boring. They dislike him for not being boring, but they disliked Xavier for being boring. Do you see how they create excuses and move the goalposts just so they have an excuse to always bash a black man no matter what? So you gotta really realize the narratives they came up with, and then you gotta bring up the narratives they're using now. And once you compare the notes, you're gonna realize these people are actually playing both sides, just like Matt. And this is why Matt's been exposed tonight. Because I'm gonna keep it real. There ain't no playing both sides when you're talking about race relations, when you're talking about somebody being anti-black. If I notice someone being if I notice anyone being prejudiced towards any group of people, I don't even care if I don't know them. Because I know what it feels like as someone black, I'm going to step in and stop that. Other people have the privilege of knowing they don't ever have to stop that. Because they're the ones that are never in the crosshairs when it comes to race relations. Hence why it's so easy for them to denounce the theory that clearly race plays a role in their biased coverage. So understand, all these things are connected, right? And this is why, in my opinion, production rigged the HOH the way they did. This is why, in my opinion, production has done nothing to provide a fair edit to anyone on Cirie's side, juxtaposed to the edit provided to everyone against Cirie now. All they have done is justify all of the narratives towards all these black players being bullies, being tyrannical, being dictators. But the truth is, these black players have been quite inclusive. So inclusive, they've given Cory information so he could appear good. He only was given information because there weren't two straight black men on the cast. So, from the start, production set this up to be a trap. So, I just want people to remember that. Even at the beginning of this season, when I liked the cast, I was the guy saying, one straight black man on the cast, the fix is in. Welcome to Rig Brother. Now people are just starting to notice it. And see, I know certain sisters look at this as, oh, well, Jared's gone. At least one of the black women ain't gone. Jared literally is the only vehicle that can take those sisters to the end. So I hope all of y'all are rooting for him to beat Cameron. Because that's the only thing that'll help Felicia and Mimi move deeper into this game. If Cameron comes back, I think Cameron's the type to target another black woman just to prove himself to that side for a week. I'm being honest, you know. If you were non-black, would you want to stop anti-black gameplay when it's so easy to just coast along by going along to get along? This is why it's such an easy strategy to implement, and this is why it's such a hard strategy for someone black to stop. And this is why I told y'all, Jared not playing with another straight black man, the fact that his social game was so good for so long, that in itself was impressive. But when you got people who don't know what it's like to be a black man, the only black man in the workplace, to be a likable only black man in the workplace, they'll never understand it. People who've never had a straight black male boss before, they'll never understand what that brother had to go through to get to where he got. They'll never get it. Because that brother had to jump through some real hoops, you know? People out here trying to create narratives that Jared is some Nepo baby. Are you kidding me, coach? Are you kidding me? Let's really be honest in here in these streets. Jared has not been on easy mode this whole season. If anything, he's been in the Infinity War from day one. He was a nominee day one. He had to convince a white lady to take him off the block day one. At the end of the day, Jared has had to play the game official from the start, and I give the brother a lot of credit. But at the end of the day, he was up against just too much. You can't expect one black man to offset 5 white men, coming off of a season in which people bashed black men for a year. Even white people know I can target someone black and the fan base won't be mad at me for it. Understand that too, as people try to stand these stands that are in the house playing the game, catering to stands outside the house. Cory and America are enough of stands to know they can be anti-black and get a pass for it, and that's why they are anti-black. And this is also why production didn't give us a straight black male super fan to cancel out Cory. You see how white men, they can have basically, okay, they had Cameron and Red, basically the same archetype, just 2 different age groups. They gave them Cory and Luke from the same hometowns, redundant, trying to help Cory. And they also gave us Matt, who pretty much is the gimmick of the season and the guy that they're, at this point, I feel like, if not Cory, they're trying to rig the game for. So think about that for a second. They gave him 5. One got ejected on day 1 for saying the N-word. No one cares about what Jared went through in that moment. Whole bunch of people had think pieces out trying to say the black man didn't react the way they want him to. Okay? Talking about the type of people, if someone said the N-word during BB15, they wouldn't even care. Now all of a sudden they want to tell the black man how to react to it. Okay, cool. Let's put that to the side. But understand that Jared has been mistreated from day 1. He has been up against it. And even though 1 white man got ejected week 1, and even though Jared got out 2 white men with 2 of his HOHs, there's still 2 left that still did him dirty. That is an overwhelming force that this black man had to take on when he has no black man next to him that can double tap with him back to back. It's astonishing. And honestly, production, it's borderline malpractice. Because for us to come off 2 black winners where the black man clearly carried, and for you to set up Jared to have to carry by himself when you know his mom don't win comps, it's disgusting. Because it feels like y'all were trying to set up Sari to fail to prop up someone non-black to appear great because they beat Sari. Even though you set up Sari to not have the right tools to truly play a truly formidable game from start to finish. But that's what makes Sari's game so impressive up until that point. That's what makes Izzy's game so impressive. Because we didn't see Izzy coming. Izzy showed herself to be the Kiefer. But you know what made Sunsetters unstoppable? It wasn't just because they had Kiefer. wasn't just because they had LaToya. It wasn't just because they had Jed. It's because they had that one other black man to scare people from targeting that black man. I can't target this black man because if I do, the other one will take my ass out. You know what that does? That gives people a certain level of pause and hesitation towards being anti-black. But when you don't give the brother another brother around, now you're telling everybody they can be anti-black towards him, whack him, and there's nobody that they know for sure will provide that smoke. So understand that. Cory had the luxury of knowing this white man can go, that white man can go, that white man can go, and I still got 4 white women over here I can work with. I still got another 2 white men over here I still got another white man in Matt I can work with. Jag got enough self-hate I can work with him. Even though I was targeting him for 4 weeks, but Jag forgives me because I'm white. Understand that. Cory has it all right now, not because he's good, but because he's privileged. There's a difference. And if anyone is telling you otherwise, they're living a privileged life themselves. You got to understand, people who live privileged lives, they don't want to admit they're living privileged lives because they feel like they no longer can take credit for their achievements. But these are the same people taking away credit from Jared's achievements when he's the only black man in that house. So understand how malicious these talking points truly are. Oh, we talking it tonight. We talking it. I agree, Tommy. Cory ain't no quarterback. He's definitely ain't no quarterback. If he was quarterback in his high school, I create the argument he'd be a lot smoother with the ladies. You Philadelphia, I don't know about you, but when I was in high school, the quarterback of the high school team, bruh, he had all the girls, dog. He could choose whoever he wanted. You know what I mean? Cory, I'm not believing you. You need more people. Your hand's too small. You can't even grip the damn ball. You feel a dig me, coach. You feel a dig me, coach. We're not believing you. We're not believing you. Until further notice. You look like you about to trip and fall with them pads on. MK says Mimi threw that. I think that's possible, and I think if she did throw it, I think it's terrible for her overall game. But the way she chose Cory, I don't think she threw it. I think if Mimi was going to throw it, she would have chose Blue, and I think she would have lost to Blue on purpose so Blue could lose to Cory. Mimi choosing Cory over Blue to face off against, in my honest opinion, I think Mimi tried her best to stop the Stone Age. Mimi could read the room. She knows what's going on. This is why she was one of the only people willing to keep Cameron as well, if we remember that. So all of this is connected. G is good says Cory and Jag will be evicted. Hey, listen, currently the game looks a little too rigged. So, hey, I would love to see when Cory gets evicted with that struggle mustache. You feel it, Demi? I would love to see it. But currently speaking, it really looks like production has given him plot armor, and he's playing with it. And when you're playing against someone who has plot armor, there's nothing you can do, right? It reminds me of Ichigo Kurosaki when he faced off against Ulquiorra. Well, what were they in? Hueco Mundo back in the day on Bleach? When Ulquiorra destroyed Ichigo and then the plot armor kicks in, he grows horns and then just wins the fight. It's like, bro, what is this? That was production tonight. They gave Cory some horns during Scaryverse. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. You know? Yeah, Mimi did stand 10 toes down. I'm giving her credit, coach. She deserves that, you know? Unfortunately, it is what it is, you know? I would have loved to see this cast, right? If we had 2 straight black men on it, Mimi, Felicia, and Suri. No Kirsten. I would have loved to see that dynamic. I think you would have saw a really good season. I think it would have been... And here's another thing. When there are 2 straight black men on the cast, everyone non-black has to play different socially. Jag couldn't get away with that black scent shit because 2 black men would have came together and said... He got to go, bro. You feel it, Demi? We wouldn't have let that fly. We wouldn't have let that fly at all. But to be fair, he went home 10-0. And I'd argue that twist ruined the season. So, hey, man, listen. I liked the twist at the time, but now I see it's turned into Stone Age. So, it is what it is. Cause and effect, baby. BB says... I think the House is going to vote in Jared or Cameron. I don't think it will be a competition. Oh, well, if it's a House vote, you know they're going to vote Cameron back. They're too anti-black. Come on, man. Way too anti-black. Cory's going to be like, guys, Jerry can't come back because he knows I took him out. Do whatever you can to help me stay on easy mode. I remember when Cameron was campaigning, and he gave a great pitch. He said, bruh, Applebee's and Cory have been walking through this game. It's about damn time we make them have to put in some work. And I couldn't agree more with you, Cameron. And that's the funny part. Players in that house clearly can see that Applebee's and Cory have had everything handed to them. They are literally the silver spoon kids, right? But their fan base online makes it seem like they're these rough and tough underdogs. They make it seem like Cory is Prince Charming because he stood up to Jared. But then when it came time for Jag to use the veto, Cory was too much of a beta to allow his girl to come off the block. What type of Prince Charming, what type of knight in shining armor allows his girl to stay in harm's way as he gets to kick his feet up? What kind of coward does that? Then he talks about threatening women shortly after that. What kind of coward does these things? Cory. But this is the guy everyone loves for some reason. It's insane to me. It's really insane to me. But this once again goes to show me, man, listen, you get a lot of traction in this community just for not being black. I mean, I'm keeping it real. Like from a male perspective. Like you are always redeemable if you're not a black man. Always redeemable, you know. And I think this is why a lot of black men that have played Big Brother, I think they're watching this show, and I think they also see the way I see it. I see Big D tweeting. He don't like that anti-black alliance at all because he sees what it is. Anybody who played this game before sees what it is. You know what I mean? It's the people who would be terrible at this game, people who are completely biased and anti-black that refuse to admit what they see because they like the show when this is the type of strategy. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, when this is the strategy being implemented, the game doesn't have any layers to it anymore, right? It doesn't have any nuance to it. Everything is just black and white, pun intended. And when things become so black and white, when there's no gray area, when last week Jared's HOH, no one even throws out there an alternate idea to him. Everyone keeps their cards close, and they just set the brother up to fail. You know, it truly is sad, you know what I mean? Because this is the soldier who kept a lot of y'all safe for weeks, you know? And he's definitely the soldier who was willing to target the player all of y'all seem so spooked by. And what's his reward? Oh, you can go right after he goes, you know? No one has any respect for the black man's sacrifice. No one has any respect for the black man's contribution. And that's just the truth. Mr. Ty asked the question, will Jared and Cam be able to socialize with the other house guests while they are both zombies? I'm assuming this is going to be like Camp Comeback, another season that was anti-black. Are you noticing a common denominator here, a common thread here, right? Are you noticing how this season is starting to become very reminiscent of the anti-black seasons of the past? It's giving me BB21 vibes with Twist That Flop. It's giving me BB19 vibes, Friendship Cult. It's giving me BB15 vibes, anti-black. You know, it's giving me all those vibes. You know, it's giving me some committee vibes, BB22 as well. Understand. So all of this put together has created the perfect concoction of, in my opinion, prejudice. And at the end of the day, Coach, once again, I just don't see this season getting better from here, unfortunately. There's a possibility it could, but that would take Jared doing what he's been doing all along, and he still won't get any credit even if he does make the game fun again. So that's the funniest part, in a sense, you know? No matter what, they're going to complain even if he makes feeds interesting for them. Paul says, hey, Coach, I love your rants. You speak about how I feel when it comes to these pricks. My question to you is, who do you have winning this season, and do you think the jury will be bitter? I think no matter what, the jury is going to be bitter to an extent because a lot of these players signed up for a game that doesn't really benefit them. And at the end of the day, when you got people trying to say, I'm playing a straight-up game, I'm doing this. Literally, Jag has told the most lies over the last 7 days than anyone else in that house, but he's creating an argument. Jared is the worst person in the world for lies. Cerie's a bully for lies. Izzy's a bully for lies. So you got to understand these things. But if I had to pick someone that I think will win as of right now, I'm probably going to go with Bowie Jane because that's the only person in that five I would want to win at this point. Because at least Bowie Jane doesn't fake it to make it. At least she doesn't fake kick it with you. At least Bowie Jane is the type to just keep her cards close. She doesn't try to make it seem like, hey, I'm pro-black today. Bowie Jane don't do all that stuff. But Matt, Jag, the yo-yo baby yo nonsense, you up in that black man's HOH room and you gonna throw shade at him? Now all that stuff is rooted in a lot of weirdness to me. And I'm trying my best to be algorithmic friendly. Understand, the next rant will be Patreon exclusive. We'll go off a little bit more. Last night, we had a classic rant. This is definitely the PG version. Patrons will tell you, this is the PG version. Huh? Nas says Jarrett played well. He just gave Cory and Applebee's way too much amnesty. Well, I agree with you there. But also, once again, if I'm Jarrett and if I give this little prick all of this information, I'm expecting him to have some loyalty to me over the girl that just gives him a few hand jobs, right? Where Jarrett miscalculated was he didn't realize how much of a wimpy simp, virgin, Steve Carell archetype Cory truly was. And that's the thing. But once again, I don't even want to fixate too much on that. If Jarrett just has another straight black man on this cast, Jarrett's potential is completely unlocked, and all of a sudden, you got some Black Mamba, Meta World Peace stuff popping off. Black Mamba, Andrew Bynum type stuff popping off. Black Mamba, Derek Fisher type stuff popping off. You see what I'm saying? All he needed was one more brother, and it's Brothers of Destruction settings. Production said, we can't give you that. 2 straight black men on the same cast is overpowered, which is one of the greatest compliments you can give. But how do they not feel that way about 5 straight white men when they've won the most? This is why I told y'all this season's rigged for a white man to win or likely a black woman. But that's why I want Bowie to win, because she would be going against the predetermined grain. Yeah, they hate Jarrett with a passion. It's very disgusting. But understand, there's people saying, oh, I can't wait for him to leave this house. He has something waiting for him. What he got waiting for him? If y'all saw him in the street, y'all would be quiet as hell. Even your boy over there at the Prejudice Network, even he, if he interviews him, he ain't gonna keep that same energy in his face. Even your favorite interviewers, they gotta be on StreamYard to provide some energy, to provide some aggression towards the black man. Don't none of these people in a black man's face have that energy, okay? And that's how you know a lot of these people are cowards, man. They're total cowards. Say whatever you want to say about me. I know black history enough to say these things in front of any white person. They don't know enough about black history to have the heart to say what they say about black people in front of black people, though. And that's the difference. That's the dichotomy. Yeah, it's a lot of lemon boogers out here, Coach. CJ says the season is trash. I agree with you now, Coach. Understand, y'all know me. I was optimistic throughout most of this season. Rarely optimistic, if you allow some people to say it. But at the end of the day, I'm a realist. When the season begins to flop, I call it out. Production, balls in your court. Y'all need to go brainstorm and figure something out. Because right now, we're in the Stone Age storm, and I don't see us escaping these thunderclouds anytime soon. I just don't see it, Coach. Huh? I just don't. Wealthy black Southerner says he doesn't care about the Stone Age. There weren't enough black people in the past. In the past, no one black won, though. That's my point. So it is the Stone Age. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. If no one in the past won during the Stone Age, then this is the indicator we're in the Stone Age because they didn't give us 2 straight black men. 2 straight black men on the cast means no Stone Age. We now have the data to prove it. Every time straight black men play together, and by the way, 2 straight black men have only played together 2 seasons out of 25, by the way, for the people who want the data. 2 seasons out of 25. Meanwhile, straight white men have always had another straight white male counterpart on 25 seasons. But you tell me if this is truly rooted in anti-blackness or not. I'm just here to provide y'all with the facts, with a little bit of opinion on top. Exactly, Rod. I feel like you do. Cam will just run back to that anti-black side. Budgie says, when they cast Bowie Jane, I wanted a Tim from BB Can 4 and she's a flop. I mean, that's just what it is, man. Bowie's not delivering from a strategic standpoint. But you got to understand, if a black woman was the size of Bowie Jane, she wouldn't be able to play that way either. And Bowie Jane's also benefiting from being white, but that's something no one else wants to say. I'll say it. Shorty like 6'3". She could play on the Australian basketball national team with Ben Simmons. You fella dig me, dog? I'm talking, she out here getting up shots with Patty Mills. She out here teaching Andrew Bogut post moves. You fella dig me, Coach? Oh, we're cooking right now. Hey, man, listen, anyone in that alliance can get cooked. No one is going to be left unchurned. You feel it, dig me, Coach? You feel it, dig me, Coach? I just got to keep it real. It's definitely a cook season, but it's very possible for them to go to the supermarket and get some fresh meat. It's very possible. But the problem with all of this is it might be a little bit too late, right? You know, it might be a little bit too late now. You know, Sari don't really care about this show no more. She just saw her son get evicted. I know that broke her heart. She kept it together. Bless her heart. Jared got evicted by a vote of 6-1, if I'm not mistaken. Suri was the only one who gave him a sympathy vote, of course. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I just really think as double eviction episodes go, this is one of the worst episodes of all time. Because everything we thought would happen, happened. So nothing really happened that was entertaining then. And when you compound that upon how the last week of feeds have been boring, it's not a good look. And now we only get 2 episodes next week, so this allows production to really remix the narrative of the week. Listen, it's just not a good look moving forward. It really isn't. But at the end of the day, though, hey, Jared can't say I chipped in on bashing him or stumping him out. I had the brothers back because I know what you were up against, brother. So salute to you for playing as well as you did up until this point. I understand the context, and I'll never forget the code. Someone says, only woman says, Cory is too smug for me. He and his tasty booger eating self gots to go. Well, see, that's the problem. He has plot armor, coach. So the only way he goes home, honestly, is if they start to wake up a bit out of their deep slumber. Unfortunately, I think they have invested a little bit too much in Cory in the edit to let him go now. Abdi asked the question, seriously, where does Mimi stand? Is she going to use other black players as stepping stones? Well, I think Mimi proved tonight where she truly stands. The problem is Mimi waited too long to choose a side. Well, not choose a side. She waited too long to actually compete for an HOH. Mimi should have been winning HOHs early on, man. She should have been winning them early on. Now, to be fair to her, pressure cooker, I still think it was rigged against her because the dirt. But let me stop before they try to copyright this. And then they brought Josh Martinez for the next endurance. If you were there for the cooked under pressure rant, you're going to get that reference, but I digress. But yeah, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, it's tough. Survivor starts next Wednesday. That's probably a big reason why there's no Wednesday episode, because they do 90-minute episodes from now on Survivor. But you got Survivor coming in a week. That's going to take away from your viewer base. Challenge USA is now a better show to watch. That's going to take away your viewer base on Thursdays as well. So you're going to lose your viewer base probably on Wednesdays and Thursdays unless people roll over from Survivor on Wednesdays. The NFL is back, so you're going to lose your viewer base now on Sundays. I think this show's ratings are going to start to really plummet. That's my prediction. I think they're going to start to really plummet. And that's whether or not Jared comes back. I really think production made some mistakes. I really do think that. Breezy says, Monty said he will never play again. I don't blame Monty at all. Like, let's be honest here in these streets. Monty played a finals MVP type game, and people are acting as if he was Matthew Dellavedova. Like, y'all got him all the way messed up. That brother was LeBron James. He was doing chase down blocks the whole nine. Brittany tried to turn on Taylor. He convinced Turner to keep Taylor when Turner was closer to Alyssa. Understand, Monty was doing stuff I ain't never seen someone do. And people forgot all of it because it was convenient to forget. So, at the end of the day, hey, man, Monty, I think you're a great challenge player. That seems to be the show for you moving forward. Keep up the great work. You and Tyler definitely came off as huge baby faces. And I'm happy for you, brother, because honestly, the challenge community, they respect you a lot more than the Big Brother community ever will. Go where you're appreciated, coach. And that's coming from one black man to the next. And that's regarding anything, brothers. Go where you are valued. Go where you are appreciated. Don't feel as if you are always forced to please everyone else, because the truth is, when the rubber meets the road, everyone doesn't go out of their way to please us. So sometimes you got to do what's best for yourself and don't look back. And I'm very happy for that, brother, man. You know, I could create the argument the mistreatment of Monty is the reason why we only got one straight black man on this cast. I can create that argument. You know, so at the end of the day, I know Monty's legacy is great, just like I know Jared's legacy is great, just like I know Xavier's legacy is great. You know, all three of those brothers, for different reasons, were good players at this game. Unfortunately, Jared didn't have the luxury of playing with another black man like Xavier and, of course, Monty had. And that ended up being the biggest difference maker, you know. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who your mom is. You're always going to be a bigger threat than any black woman as a black man. It doesn't matter. You can be Cherie Fields with the reputation she has, and she's still less of a threat than her son. That's a testament to the fact that everyone knows the black man is the vehicle that leads to black excellence. No one else. So while all these white people want to gaslight y'all and convince y'all they're these huge allies, ask yourself why none of these white people in the media, ask yourself why none of them ever root for the black man who happens to be the vehicle for black excellence. Ask yourself that question. If they truly care about black women, how could they hate so much on the archetype responsible for black excellence? It doesn't add up. And because it doesn't add up, you know who the real enemy is. Selena says the fact that they had the votes with Bowie to keep Jared and never tried because Felicia has lemon booty is disgraceful. Well, to be honest, I don't think they would have ever kept Jared over Blue. Even if Bowie isn't that close to Blue, I don't think that would ever happen, Selena. I'm just being completely real there. You got to understand, the anti-blackness was on full display the past week. It was on such full display, Blue chipped in on bashing Jared too. All right, I was worried during Blue's speech tonight she would straight up unload the clip in terms of exposing the secret. I was very worried. I'm like, Blue, you know you're staying, right? Like, I was concerned, coach. But that's something Izzy would have never contemplated, but it felt like Blue may have contemplated that much. And that's another good point, Vintage. Vintage says, I don't think he knew how anti-black America is, because did you see the disgusted look on America's face was so disrespectful. And see, that's another thing about this, right? Because Jared isn't a super fan, production was being even more malicious by selecting him on his own to carry such a strong burden for the black community, right? It's like, it would be like Lord of the Rings, right? It would be like if the Fellowship never came together to protect Frodo. Instead, they said, hey, Frodo, you got to do this journey barefoot by yourself with just Sam. That's basically, to me, what production did to Jared and Sari. They said, we're not going to give you the Fellowship, which would be one more extra straight black man. We're not going to give you Aragorn. We're not going to give you Legolas. You know what I'm saying? We're not even going to give you the dwarf guy with the axe. We're not even going to give you him, the dude with he had like the Scottish accent. We're not even going to give you that guy. We're going to give you Sam, we're going to give you Frodo, and we're going to hope you make it all the way to Sauron. Come on, man. Come on, man. Like, can we be honest right now, ladies and gentlemen? And I know that analogy may have went over some of y'all heads, but it's the truth. You know? It would be like, I'm trying to think of another analogy for the people that don't watch Lord of the Rings. Okay, for the people who watch Game of Thrones, Jon Snow is Azor Ahai. He's the child of prophecy, right? He's the guy who's supposed to bring balance back to the world, right? It would be like if they said, you know what, Jon Snow, instead of you being able to recruit this army of wildlings, take them south of the border, and eventually gain all of this political capital, we're going to have you by yourself this entire show, and we're going to have you fight an entire army by yourself. The Knights of the Vale are never going to show up, and you have to beat Ramsay Bolton's entire battalion on your own. That's what production said to Jared. We're going to give you one sword, and you have to fight thousands of people on your own. 5 straight black men is like telling Sakura Haruno that she has to fight 5 Akatsuki members by herself. Don't get it twisted. Sakura can handle Sasori on her own with the help of Chiyo Basama, but she ain't fighting 5 Akatsukis by herself. That's a dog walking. Production is literally creating the narrative in the edit that somehow the 5 members who jumped someone are the likable group. Are you kidding me, coach? Me seeing all these players gang up on Sari tonight, man, that was one of the most distasteful things I've ever seen. It was distasteful. They treated Sari worse than they treated Cameron there. In my honest opinion, they treated Sari like she was Vanessa Russo or something, like she been winning comps. Like, I've never seen nothing like that, bro. I've never seen nothing like that. And once again, sisters, I must ask y'all this question. After Xavier's win, y'all didn't see this type of mistreatment of sisters. So why are y'all seeing it after Taylor's win? Expecto Patronum exposed. It's because Taylor took a deal that sold us all out by not allowing black men to get any credit. That deal she took to take that 800 grand poison chalice, it has led to the rest of the black community being poisoned from that point moving forward. Sure, she got her money back. Sure, she claims she did it for the future black women that follow behind her. But the truth is, even Sari Fields can't overcome the trap that Taylor put her in. Woo! When When you think about it that way, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Taylor, oh man, wow. Wow. Taylor basically is Ollie from Game of Thrones. Wow, wow, wow. As long as she benefits from it, she don't care who she sells out. And at the end of the day, that's the real truth, you know? And it's just funny to me. The same people who don't like Cirie liked her game, like Taylor's game. I don't know how anyone can like Taylor's game more than Cirie's. I don't get it. I don't get it. But once again, it shows me they only like black women when they're victimized. They don't like y'all when y'all actually take the game by the scruff of the neck. They don't like y'all when y'all actually have control of something. They don't like y'all when y'all actually are great at the game. They only like y'all when y'all aren't good. That way, they can rally behind grifter talking points and act like the fake allies they are. So, ladies and gentlemen, these were my thoughts. And this was the 28th rant entitled Sanctioned by the Stone Age. You can research the stuff I mentioned. I would highly recommend y'all research the Willie Lynch letters, because a lot of what is in the Willie Lynch letters, it will explain to you all what white media has been trying to do to the black community in this specific realm in terms of the divide and conquer strategies. The way that they try to falsely prop up sisters, even though they don't care about anyone black, just to divide and conquer us, that's by design. Well, now all of a sudden they don't care about sisters anymore. They threw y'all away like this is Toy Story. They got a new toy. And now the game has gotten so bad that Applebee's can culturally appropriate herself as the new Taylor. So once again, I must ask the question, how good is her legacy if a white girl from Mexico is the only one who can play victim now? I'm Dave Smith for Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. And this was all sanctioned by the Stone Age. Production, y'all are in huge danger of losing your entire fan base from a black perspective. You're in huge danger of losing interest from a larger perspective. And when there's so much good TV coming on very soon, I mean, Loki Season 2 drops early October. Spider-Man 2 drops. 2K just dropped. FIFA drops tonight, or EAFC. Understand, Coach, we can find other things to make us enjoy ourselves. We just happen to love Big Brother when it's played the right way. And unfortunately, production, y'all decided to take the side of a bunch of players who just aren't likable or entertaining. This is a recipe for disaster. And at the end of the day, Coach, you can't blame no one but yourself if this season turns into the day after tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll see patrons for another one this weekend, all right? Until next time. Deuces. Cory, you so ass at comps. You needed everyone and they mama to stump out Cirie just to win one. You're an embarrassment. And you also needed no straight black male superfan on the cast just to appear like someone who knows what he's doing. You're a front runner, Coach. You're Matt Stafford on the LA Rams. You're not winning because you're a great quarterback. You're winning because you got a stacked team. There's a difference, Coach.